This video is an initial look at crop estimate entry. Crop estimate entry is not completed yet, but we want to get it in your hands so we can get your feedback. So I'm going to walk you through how to enter an initial crop estimate and then go back through and edit that crop estimate and then submit it to Varietal. We're changing things a little bit in the way the flow works. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, there's going to be a status on the crop estimate entry that you work through. When you're playing around with it and figuring out your numbers, it's going to be in work. When you're ready to submit it to Varietal, you'll click on a button that's for submittal and it'll go to Varietal. The Varietal team will see it at that point, and when they're ready, they will load it into Equity, and it'll have an as-of date that it was loaded. On subsequent entries of crop estimate, if you're going to make some updates after it's been loaded, that prior version will be retired. So you'll see a series of statuses as you go through the life cycle of these crop estimates. To begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the 2020 season. It's going to be District 1 Navels. And so what we're going to do, I've just been entering these numbers and hitting enter, and then I'm going to use my mouse and click Create New. So that's going to go through and initialize a few things, and it's going to bring us to a panel that the upper portion looks similar in style to what was in Kirky, where you have tree crop acres, you have the crop estimate, and you have a utilization factor. When you enter these estimates, they're going to be at the association level, and the system will check and verify that your location ends in 00, which are the association levels. So to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to put tree crop acres in, and I've got an example that I'm working off of that has 766 acres, and we're going to put in a value for total cartons, and then crop utilization factor 90%. That's as far as we're going to go with this right now. And I want to see what my total utilized crop estimate is going to look like. So I'm going to hit my calculate button. I can also hit the F5 key. So what that does is it gives me my utilized number, and it also gives me a standard carton per acre factor here as well. Okay. You'll notice that it's given me a warning that says the grade and size grand totals do not match. It went through and calculated the entire screen. And down here we have our grades and our sizes in separate grids. And this is where we enter our percentages for the grades and percentages for the sizes. So I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to tell me that we're out of balance, which we are right now because we've not entered these values. Something else to note, we are in work up here in this box that shows our status. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a comment in here and say this is my initial crop estimate. Okay. So now I'm going to go down to the grades and sizes and make a comment real quick. We realize there's a lot of grades that are showing that should not, and we're working on getting these sorted out, so that when we go live, you will have, or soon after we go live, you'll have just the grades that you want to see. So what I'm going to do for my example is I'm going to put in 30% for choice, 5% products, and then I'm going to put in 65% Sunkist grade. And you'll notice that my total has tallied up at the bottom, and that's my 100%. You do not need to enter anything in this column. And we are going to rename these columns so that this one will be a percentage, and this is going to be a calculated total. And you'll see that in a second. So for the percentages by size, I'm just going to put in something of a curve, jump it up real fast here just so we can get through this, and come back down, and I'll just put another one down here. Okay, so it's at 100%. So I'm going to hit my F5 calculate button again, and what it does is it runs through and calculates based on my percentage what my values would be, and I get my grand total at the bottom of each one of these, and it will equal the number in this box here, really it in a nutshell. If I was to go through here and change these numbers now, I would just recalculate it. And let's say I wanted to change this to 15%, knock this down to 10%, and hit my recalculate button. And it's really just changed the numbers that were here, these two fields. So you could play around with it. If you got through and accidentally deleted a line here, you would see you're at 95%, and you go to calculate. It's going to come up and give you the warning that we saw before, and it's going to say we're out of balance. You can see very quickly down here that our numbers are not correct. So I'll put that 5% back in. I'll calculate again, and we're okay. So let's say we're still going to keep this in work because we're just playing around with our numbers. I want to save this, so I'm going to hit save, or I can hit F3. And that's going to save it to the database and bring us back to our screen. And now we have an entry here that says it's in work, and it's for District 1 Navals for our 2020 season. So let's say subsequently we come back in here and we want to edit this. So I would come in and select a line and use the Edit Estimate button. It's going to pull it from the database, bring it back to where we were before, and let's say I want to put in an anticipated member number. So I'm going to put 100 acres in, 90,000 here, and let's say 92% utilization factor. So when I do this and I hit my calculate button, my numbers are going to change. And so now this number has grown to be the sum of these two numbers. Okay? And what that's also done is it's recalculated our grades and sizes so that now these numbers tally up the way they should. So it's pretty simple to go through and play around with your numbers and recalculate and get it to the point you like. And from there, you can save it again. Or in this case, let's say we were done and we wanted to submit this to the varietal team. What we do at this point is we either hit the F24 button or we hit the submit button. And so that saves it to the database again. It gives us a status of submit. That is going to wake it up on the varietal version of this screen so that they will look at it. And when they approve it or say they're going to load it into Equity, you'll see an as of date here, and you'll see who did it. So you'll be able to see as it's going through when it was put into Equity. That's the end of this video. We're going to go through and do some other, here's how we edit things and copy things in the next video. So please take some time and log into the system, get into the crop estimate entry V4 version, and play around with it and give us your feedback. And we very much appreciate that. Thank you.